I've had the privilege of serving in other countries and seeing what goes on in other countries. And we're very fortunate to live here in Canada. And often we don't appreciate what we have until we see what others don't have. And so, yes, I've been to Somalia, the former Yugoslavia, Afghanistan, and Rwanda. Those are my main tours that I've participated in. And the devastation is something else. Like you can't believe it until you're in the thick of things. You try your best with the equipment and the knowledge that you have. You do your absolute best. Long hours in Afghanistan, often worked 16 hours to 20-hour days and 7 days a week, and just looking after casualty after casualty. And as you can well imagine, that starts to wear on your brain. Even a medically trained person, I'm a nurse practitioner, and I was frontline, so I was in the triage center, and so I saw things that I shouldn't have seen. I think that's what traumatized me the most. No, not the fact of looking at, after blowing off limbs and chest blowing out and gunshot wounds. It's just the fact that another human being can do that to you. Unbelievable. Yes, absolutely. As a soldier, when you're in the thick of things, you certainly you barrel down, and the epinephrine, the adrenaline flows, and you get through it. And it's only when your tour is over or your career is near the end, you start thinking of, what the heck did I do? And, and what did I see? And that's when it really hit me. I had retired from the Canadian Forces, and it was a couple of years after retirement that I finally had to face my demons. I had hid them pretty well, I thought, but my family and friends could see it in me, being agitated and looking behind my back, and just like always having to be active and busy, and that way I could just drown it away. But then when I had to quiet it down, then it really hit me, and I was diagnosed with a complex PTSD by a psychiatrist, head of psychiatry department. Honestly, over a regime of 4 years, there was often 5 therapists looking after me, keeping my head above the water, between psychiatry, psychologist, psychotherapist, meditation specialist, exercise regime. And like all of those, honestly, all of those were fantastic. And they kept me alive, because that's the last thing I wanted. I wanted this all gone and out of my head and just move on. And if I couldn't, I just wanted to go to sleep and not wake up. So I thank those people for getting me through the critical parts. But the thing that really, really sticks in my head is that Remembrance Day, the 11th of November.
November 11th.
Oh my gosh. And each year it seemed like the buildup to it added another 2 weeks to my anguish. And so it was now, like in August, I was thinking about November 11th, and I couldn't wait for it, because November 12th is my New Year's. That's the day I can just let go. And so I was really fortunate this July. I was introduced to Phil Leadbeater, who works 2 days in Peterborough. And as you know, he's the dolphin guru in the city of Peterborough and Port Hope. And so that was the Dolphin Microcurrent therapy was the only new modality that was in my regime in the past probably 8 years.
Mm.
My first month, I was seeing him on a weekly basis. My first month, I could see my anxiety lift and lighten, and the depression be so much better in waiting and anticipating for November 11th. And that was the first month. The second month, I could dramatically see a difference. And I was actually looking forward to Remembrance Day. I was like, I can do this. I can do this. And the New Year's Day is no big deal. It's like, Remembrance Day, I'll march on parade this year. And I think, Phil, I can really be engaged in the parade and listen to the speeches, where all previous years, it was just like I was just in a flood of tears and was tuned out and was just trying my best to breathe through the ceremony. But this year, I'm telling you, I had a very good Remembrance Day. And when I look at it, the only difference in my therapies is the fact that I was introduced to the Dolphin Microcurrent. I can't boast enough about it to my military colleagues. It's non-invasive. It doesn't require pills to push. It doesn't require surgery. And it's this microcurrent that can make a huge difference. November 11th was a lovely experience for me this year, in years. And November 12th, the New Year's for me, was not a big deal. It was just like another happy day. So not only has he helped me with my PTSD, anxiety, depression, like I have some pretty complicated scars. I have like rods and pins up my back due to a spontaneous fragmentation of L4, 5, and S1 while I was in the military. I have had 4 knee replacements in the past 3 years. Just really bad luck on the operating table, and it took 4 total knee replacements to correct it to the final. And as you can imagine, the amount of scar tissue I have a reconstructed right Achilles tendon. I've had the usual appendicitis and the appendix removed. I've had an acromioplasty of my left shoulder, bilateral carpal tunnels. I had a traumatic amputation of my 2 digits on my left hand when I was a young kid, and I happened to be left-handed. He's worked on all of those scars, releasing through microcurrent. He's worked on all of those scars, and I still see him today. I see him every single week, and every week there's like a new scar for him to release and release that tension and energy out of the scar, and provide me with some great relief. Like, I mean, honestly, I'm a medical person. I'm an evidence-based individual. But when you have PTSD, your mind opens up to other modalities that don't involve pills and don't involve injections and don't involve, psychiatry, really. Right. And I'm just very thankful, number one, that my mind was open to other modalities, in particular to dolphin therapy. And actually, the proof is in the pudding. It's like, honestly, like, if you could have seen me a few years ago, I wouldn't have had this smile on my face. It's miraculous is what it is. And I tell my story to others, not only like military, civilians. I've referred a number of people to feel Leadbeater in order to have the Dolphin Microcurrent, and for different reasons I'm sending them to him, and I have not had one individual come back to me and say it didn't help. It's been very beneficial for them. It boggles my mind that they would not embrace this type of therapy that is non-invasive and has the ability to really help the troops, in particular those that have suffered traumatic amputees from explosions. for those individuals suffering PTSD, it really boggles my mind to think that they would not embrace this and train every single occupational therapist in the Canadian Forces, and on top of enough occupational therapists to serve the retired veterans and offer them this type of therapy. It's heartbreaking for me. Why I was not offered that through Veterans Affairs, why I had to seek it out and find it for myself, that should not happen. That should be offered. Just like physiotherapy, occupational therapy, any other specialists that you're going to see to help you rehabilitate, dolphin therapy should be in the regime of offering to help. Honestly, like, I have had a remarkable experience in seeing the improvement in both my joint injuries and my brain PTSD with the use of Dolphin Microcurrent therapy. I would strongly recommend it for anybody with any type of an injury that is not responding to your typical interventions like physiotherapy. Honestly, it's a modality that needs to be tried, and you will not be disappointed with the experience. It's phenomenal.